Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining in today. I know it's so gorgeous outside. Everybody's been taking walks with their children and dogs and cycling, but I can guarantee you that this is also fun, and you're going to really enjoy painting this subject today. And any questions, please type in, just like Lauren said. And just want to thank LCPL again for giving such opportunities to artists and creating like a community where everybody can come and paint together and just relax. So, as you all know, today we're going to paint these lanterns. Very nice, bright, beautiful picture, and I love the light that is captured here, and that's how my inspiration is from. It's capturing light, and I thought we could. This will be great for spring now that everybody is staying up late and hanging out outside. So it's going to be a fun one, and I will explain as I go how to get started with a painting like this, what paints we are going to use, and how to really start thinking as an artist as well. Some of you are really new, I know. I got a lot of emails from people that, do I need to prepare anything else before I paint this? And not really much. You just have to draw and then we'll paint along. So as you can see on my right hand side, the drawing is already done, and the link to the reference image and the drawing is already on the library calendar website. I think Lauren can put the link on it so that you can have a reference as you paint along, because I might have less space here to fit in everything here. So I'll give you about 8 to 10 minutes to make this drawing. So it's not very complicated. You don't have to get into the details too much. Just try to get one, two, three, four, five, six, at least six of these. And you can see that how the shapes are. This one is really large. As you go up, the shape decreases, especially on the top. So just keep simple shapes. They're just oval, almost like a deflated or pressured balloon. So just very simple. They look mostly like pumpkins, so that will be really helpful to get started. So start with your drawing and then slowly I'll introduce the colors. Any questions, please let us know. A lot of people are probably painting in watercolors for the first time and are probably very nervous, but trust me, I think one of the best mediums I have used is watercolors, and it's often very underrated. People think oils are richer and acrylics, so watercolors is a very mediocre medium. I think it's one of the challenging mediums, but also a very unique medium because of its transparency. And yes, it does require a little more patience and a little more planning when compared to oils and acrylics. But once you get into it, I think you're never going to leave watercolors because of its very nature of, just flowing and just taking its own course of how the paint and the water, everything flows on paper. So if you're finding it difficult, don't give up too easily. There are scores and scores of courses and materials and websites to teach watercolors, and you just need practice and patience. So keep painting in watercolors. You'll love it. And at the end of the workshop, if you have any questions, you can email it to me. I can put my email here. And also, any questions if you have about the materials that I use, feel free to send me an email. So maybe 5 more minutes and then we'll get started. I will give time to everyone as we go. I know not everybody can paint at my speed, and I can just keep going sometimes. Okay, about 2 or 3 more minutes and then we'll get started.
Megha, someone's asking if you'll be painting the lanterns upside down.
Like this way? I don't think so.
I,
It's this way.
I think that looks upside down. I think
It's
I guess
look, it's hanging from here.
oh yeah, I see. Okay. So that's actually right side up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Unless I don't know if they're seeing on the screen upside down. I don't know.
yeah. For everybody. Megha's email.
You know what? I think they are right. They are right. I have put it upside down. Lauren, I think they're right. I'm just going to turn it. But I think it should be fine. What happened to the screen? Lauren, can you see the screen clearly? Because on my laptop, I can't. Can you hear me, Lauren?
I'm sorry, Megha, did you say something?
I said, are you able to see the picture clearly? Because my screen is really patchy.
It's what? I'm sorry. I was having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, I'm saying, are you able to see the drawing clearly? Because from my screen, I can see it's very patchy.
No, it's very clear.
Okay, okay.
But it's different than the one on the left, right? It's
Yeah.
upside down.
Actually, you're right. It is upside down, but it's okay. We can just continue to paint like this. Otherwise, I have to turn it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It was the right thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good catch. I didn't realize.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
everyone.
beautiful
So,
both ways.
yes, yes. Okay, let's get started, everyone. Now, as you can see that a, a painting like this can be so confusing. Like, where do I start? And, where should I start painting? Is it this one or this one or this one? The way I think is in watercolors is everything is nothing but values and shapes. Um, what do you mean by values? Values is lightness or darkness of something. If you see this black and white picture, you will see that which is the lightest lantern here. Okay, like this is really light, this is really light, and you can see which is really dark, like this is dark here. Because when you just see color, it's quite confusing. Like, what is how dark is this pink, or how dark is this brown or blue or green? So the best way to come to a conclusion how light or dark you should paint is keep a black and white picture close to you. It is really helpful when you start painting a painting like this, or anything in watercolor. Actually, any drawing or any painting you do, black and white reference is very critical. So this is how I'm going to approach. I'm going to approach from light to dark, because in watercolors you can keep adding paint, but to remove is really hard. So we're going to start from really light ones and probably move around, and we're going to work into layers, because you can see here there's yellow and there's orange outside, and there's really this dark orange patch here, and so on. Also, the background is really dark. I think the darkest thing is the background here. So we need to make sure that our thickest layer or the darkest layer of paint is this black background with some white spots on it. So we're going to use some white paint too. Usually I don't use in watercolors, but today I'm going to use it. And you can see these are the colors I'm going to use. That is orange, blue, two types of blues here, and two types of yellows here, rose, brown, green. Um, so you can see that you can mix colors, and I'm going to show how I'm going to mix it, but you don't need a lot of paints. You can just paint the whole painting with three colors. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we're not going to go too dark on these lanterns, so that our background is really nice and dark. Okay, for the whole painting to really pop out. Okay, I'm going to give you one small example of what values are. Let me give you an example. Let's say if I say this blue paint is value 1, so it has to be really light. This is also quite dark, but this is really light. Okay, so this is value 1 of blue. Now let's say I want like value 8 or 9 maybe, so it has to be really dark. You can see here how dark is this. And this is how you see the contrast is, right? This is so dark than this, but they're just values of the same color. Okay, so this is the approach we are going to follow and start painting. So let's get started. You can keep all your colors together in the palette and start painting. And I'm going to keep my reference image here, the color one here, because I need the black and white one. That's more important for me. Okay, and this one is kind of like, a very dull brown kind of purplish color. So I'm just going to take some brown. Let me keep it close. Hopefully you can see something. Okay. And take a really light mixture and apply very lightly. Okay, and in the middle, you can see that there is some light spot that doesn't have any color. It's almost like very transparent. I am keeping it really light on purpose because I can always add paint, but to remove is really hard. And while this is already wet, I'm going to take a slight tinge of pink maybe and make a bit of purple out of it. How do you make purple? You just add pink and blue. Sometimes you may not see the colors that I am seeing. It takes certain time and observation and some patience to really read those colors. Okay, so this is what is our first lantern. It's very light. I may add some brown, but not too much. I really want to keep it light. Okay. Next, we can maybe do this one because it's super light. It's going to be, again, the similar colors that we're going to do. I'm going to pick the same brown. Okay. And try to leave some areas with no paint at all. In watercolors, how do you paint white? You actually don't paint anything on the paper. You just leave it blank. Okay, so that's the white of the paper is nothing but white paint. But today I'm going to use some white paint because I don't have the time to actually cover the whole area with masking fluid. I'm taking some red or rose and adding it in the lantern. Bit of blue as well. It's making a very light purple. If you see the photograph, in the ends, there's tinge of purple. And it's hard. It's hard to really see uh, those colors here. Okay. So here, I'm just leaving it and then moving on to the next one. And the reason why I'm moving on to the next one is because I want these layers to dry. Okay. I cannot keep painting on them because they're just going to remove the first layers of the paint. Next, what can we go? We can go even for this one because this is also quite light and nice. And this is simple. We just have to use a nice turquoise or the nice sea blue color. Okay. And again, I'm going to keep it light because I can always add some color to it. Okay. So here we go with this blue. You can also add the other blue a little bit, but I'm going to keep it simple. Anything you want to paint light, make sure you add more water and less paint. Anything you want to paint really dark, then you add less water and more pigment, that is more paint. That's how you can decide your values. Watercolors can be a little intimidating in the beginning because you just have no control over it. But as you begin to paint, you will feel how much you can control. There are some things you can't, but there are most of it you will know why it behaves the way it behaves. Okay, so you can see that this one is also done. Okay.
Ready. Doing the upside down, or are you turning it around?
I did not
It
turn
really
it because
does. The image really does work both ways.
it does work both ways. And I didn't turn it because it's going to take me a lot of time to fix the whole thing.
No, it's fine.
It's
But if
fine.
people want to turn it around, they can too.
They can do it. Yes, yes. If you really want to turn it around, I know it can be really hard to focus if you don't like it the way it is. But I'm really sorry. I didn't realize. I just went with the flow and just fixed it. But this is fine too. Maybe you will see things differently, you know. That's
You know,
how.
you're right. That's a good practice in creativity,
Yes,
isn't it?
exactly. And I always turn my paintings up and upside down every few days or every few hours when I'm done painting, because you see your colors and your paints where you're going wrong or what needs to be fixed. So, yeah,
I guess you could even paint it like this way and then turn it around. You
yes,
want to frame
absolutely.
it or hang it somewhere, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're done with the blue. I'll give you guys a minute to catch up and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, next we can move on to this one. It has yellow first and green. So we're going to start with yellow, a nice lemony yellow. Okay, again, it has to be light in the middle because there is this area of light. If you see this area of light, that is really the white of the paper. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I don't add any paint around it. And in fact, while it's wet, I'm going to add the green because you'll see how those colors just merge into each other in a technique called wet on wet, which is you apply wet paint on a wet surface of paper because we already added some wet paint. Okay. And you can see. Now remember, I'm not too fixated about how to make that exact green because I know everybody has different paints and different brands, and they could all be very different. So that's not the focus. The focus is to get the values right. If you want to make sure something looks real, especially realistic, then you need to focus on values and not on the exact color of what the paint is. You can make like a pink elephant, but if the shape and the values are not correct, then it will not look like an elephant. So that's more critical to me than what is the exact color. It's okay if you're not able to match my color. And I'll give you guys a minute to catch up, then we move on to the next one. Notice that I am painting in small batches and small layers. This really helps you focus on paint, because when you see a large picture, a large painting, it can be quite confusing, like where should I start, and I will mess it up, and how much paint should I mix up on my palette. So that's why it's better to work in smaller areas and keep moving. And this will also give you confidence to complete your painting, because not everybody can just pick up a large brush and just go and splash some paint on paper. For smaller areas, use a smaller brush. For larger areas, use a larger brush. That will give you confidence. Okay, so next we'll move on to maybe the top one here, because again, it's super light compared to the other ones. So what is the color? It's yellow. So we're going to take some, first I'm going to take some lemony yellow, and then I'm going to go into a darker yellow, which is almost very close to orange. Okay, so same way, light. Okay. If you notice, you will hardly hear any noise from my brush. The reason is because I just keep a very soft touch on my paper when I'm painting. If you do this, I can show you. If you do this, you can hear the noise, right? But when I paint, mostly it's very soft. This will give you a very flawless, smooth flowing painting. So the amount of pressure you put on your brush really matters. So while it's still wet, I'm going to go into my darker yellow and add some dark there, even a tinge of red or maybe orange, because I can see that it's a little darker than the yellow. Okay. So this is where we are flowing. You can see that now things are building up slowly. You build a painting just like you build anything. There has to be a plan. If you just start, I mean, I know there are some spontaneous painters, but especially for beginners, plan your painting. What are my colors? Where am I going to start? Slowly, one by one, and then you'll see that. In fact, until you finish your 80-90% of the painting, your painting will not even look nice. So when you're coming towards the end, that's when you'll start to see it coming real. And that's why you need to have patience. Don't throw your paintings, don't tear them away, don't be mad at them. Believe me, they will come to life when you're almost 80-90% done. Next, we are going to do this one. Now you can see one thing, these two are so similar. So maybe we should go this one because this is lighter than this, okay? And I want to make sure I keep that value scale consistent. So this is almost like a rose color, beautiful rose. Maybe add a bit of. So I'm going to add a little bit of more paint than what I've been painting all this while. It needs some extra color. Okay. And yeah, maybe we'll need a little bit of purple in the bottoms. I can see some purples back here. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there, and then we can either decide to do this one or this one. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with this one and do this one last. So I'll give you guys a minute to catch up with the painting. Keep rinsing your brush. Let me show you how I rinse my brush. Someone asked me this, so I just rinse it and then just take the drops away. Keep a towel next to you all the time, um, because if you keep using a very dirty brush, your colors can get muddy. I mean, I do paint with a lot of muddy paint, but that's intentional. It's not when I'm just being lazy, but I do want some muddy mixed colors on my painting. So make sure you keep cleaning them. Okay. Next, we're going to do this one. And you can see there's a lot of yellow and then nice reddish orange tones here. Okay. You can see this side is darker and this side is a bit lighter. So again, keep your black and white images close to you. You can see that if because I'm using a really large brush, I can just keep flowing my paints here. Because these brushes are really good professional brushes. They hold a lot of paint. What happens is if you buy those really cheap brushes, they don't hold a lot of water and paint. And so you get frustrated. And then you feel like, oh, I have to keep going back to my palette and keep digging my brush into it. And then, you just lose the fun of painting because you're getting streaks and it doesn't look good and neat. So it's important that you use good brushes. And I can send you guys a link with all the materials I use, where I buy them from. Now I'm going to take some orange. Okay, you can mix orange. If you don't have this, mix yellow and red and you'll get some orange. Okay. And you can see, because this was wet, everything's just mixing up, just mixing up. I don't even mind using a bit of red on this side because it's so bright and beautiful. If you want to change any of these colors and want to paint maybe like a purple one, totally go ahead and do it. It's your painting, the way you want to do it, and your choice of colors do matter.
Yeah, why do you have the black and white photo there instead of the color one?
Why do you have the black and white picture?
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm trying to compare how light any
Oh, I
paint
see.
should be.
Okay.
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 And like I
That makes
said,
sense. Yeah.
yes,
You don't see that when once it's
yes, with
colored.
color, it's hard to say how
Right.
dark this orange is. So I can compare and see the contrast here.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the reason.
I got it. Okay. Colors are beautiful.
So our brain really perceives color very differently. So this is a very easy way to get that confusion, um go away. Okay, so next we're going to this one because this was the one that was left. It was really dark, so again, we're going to go too much green into it. Same here. I'm going to get into a nice dark orange. I'm going to mix a little bit of red in my orange. Let me just move this here because I know you couldn't see. And this, oops, sorry, that was the wrong one. Okay. Now that you see that we got at least some layer of paints on these lanterns, okay, now we're going to go slowly into a little more second layer of if we need more layers on this, and we need to fix these, we need to add these stripes on them, okay, but I'll give you guys like 2 or 3 minutes to catch up. I think this is incomplete, so I think I need to add this here. Yeah. I forgot about this part, so I'm just going to add it. Okay, so I'm just waiting now for a few of these layers to dry. If you see, this is already dried. Okay, you can check with the back of your knuckle and touch and see if it feels cold, it's still damp. Otherwise, it's dry. And it's important that it is really nice and dry. You can speed up this process by using a hair dryer. I don't have it right now, but I'm going to continue to paint. Okay, so let's see how we're going to go further. I did make a few mistakes here, but it's okay. We'll remove the paint. Huh. Okay, so we'll go here now. Now you can see these stripes also have some color. Uh, they're mostly colors of whatever is in the painting. It's mostly shadows and reflections of each other. Maybe whatever is next to it is reflecting on the other object. So I'm just going to keep it simple. I might take a nice purple here, mix some purple. I'm going to take some blue and mix some red to it. Just trying to make a nice purple color. And I'm going to keep it light because it is very dull and light. Okay. So here you go. And you don't have to do it the whole way. Keeping it really light, what it means is I'm going to use more water and less paint. Okay, you see that? It's super light, but it's still getting that structure. And once it's dried, I may go and add some layers maybe because I feel that it needs, some of them need more paint. Like this one especially, I feel needs a little bit of extra paint here and even the blue one here, but we'll see. Okay, so this is dry. Okay, so I'm going to add, if you see here, do you see some purple here radiating from here? They're actually blue and purple and pink. They're all reflecting colors on this. Okay, so you can see that's why they look like that. So I'm just going to follow the same thing. Looking at my black and white, I'm going to take some purple here and fill in the small gap. I may need a smaller brush because it is too big for that small, tiny area. Okay, that's good. And as you can see, the stripes here, They are a bit brownish on the top and bit purplish on bottom. So I'm just going to take some of those colors. We can even use some blue and keeping it light, not too dark. I'm going to take some brown and continue. Even some green. I see some green. Because they, oh, that's too dark. Sorry. It's all reflecting from other lanterns. On this base, I see some blue. So maybe a bit of blue here. And they look quite muddy actually. It's because of how those colors are reflecting. In fact, if you see, these are really dark. That's why they pop out. Next, we're going to continue with this one. I do need a little bit of extra yellow here. I'm going to add a tad bit of orange in this yellow. And I'm going to complete this part because I feel it's a bit light. Okay, and because it has to dry, I'm doing this now. Later, I'll go on and add those stripes. Okay, so this part, we're adding some yellow and continuing. Next, we can add some blue here.
Questions? Sorry, Megha.
Yes.
Sorry. No questions yet.
Okay, so I'm going to continue with the blue here. Just adding a little more of that blue, same color, nothing changed. Just adding a little darker on this side, as I see in my black and white image. Look, I'm tweaking the painting continuously because as watercolor dries, you will see that it becomes a little lighter. That's how watercolors behave. That's how the property of watercolors is. They will dry a bit lighter. Okay, so don't be surprised when you see your painting is um, lighter than what you thought. And you're like, oh, I put so much paint, but it's already light. Yes, slightly it will be lighter. Okay, next, this is done. Next, we can, this is already, I think this is good. We don't need to add much. I feel it's okay, but maybe I'll add a bit of red just to give it a little distinction here. This side I feel is a little darker orange, so maybe I'll add a bit of red here. Okay, and you'll see that already it's popping. Same thing, I'm going to do a bit of red on this side. It's darker. Just a few. Dark areas here. Okay, but overall, yeah, we're doing great. We're getting so close to the painting. Need some yellow here. Even with green, I think I need a few areas here and there, slightly darker. Just taking a few dabs of paint and adding here. Okay. And now this is good. I'm going to take a little dark here, paint here, and just with some blue. Throughout the painting, you have to keep checking the object next to whatever you're painting. Is it light or is it dark? That's what will make the painting look real and glow. Okay, so yes, it's a bit of work, but yes, that's how you get to see your painting. Next, I think we'll leave these to dry. Okay, and we can come back and add those stripes. In the meanwhile, we can paint these areas. Do you see that? Those threads hanging. Okay, and again, you see what are the colors here. I see some orange, some brown, and again, same colors around it. Maybe you can add some purple. It doesn't have to look so dark and boring and muddy. Okay, so we're going to start with some orange here. This also has a bit of orange layer here. It's light. That's too much paint. This one, if you see, has a bit of little red undertones. Yeah, just smoothing it out with a wet brush. That's all. Okay, so we added this, and um, I'm going to take some, I'm going to let it dry, and then we're going to add some purples here. Here you can see, again, it's a bit of light purple with some dark purple undertones. So I'll mix some purple here, blue and pink mix. Let it dry. Okay. I think I went too much yellow, orange here. So lost the yellow here, but that's okay. Um, we'll get it back. It's okay. Next, I think we need everything to be dried. So we just need a minute more, but maybe this is dry. Yes. So we can go ahead and put the stripes here and see the color of the stripes. So again, it's, if you see, it's got all these purplish lines and even, dark browns. So we're going to just use that. You can use some brown here. And I'm going to keep it light. Maybe some purples here. Yeah. This is a bit wet, so we leave it. We can do this. Again, these, if you see the stripes, it's really nice, dark blue. We can probably mix two blues here. We can take dark blue here. And if you want to make dark blue dark, add a bit of brown to it. It will become dark. You can even add a bit of purple here. And they're going to be dark, okay? So I need to make sure that it's got some more paint and less water. Okay. As I come on this side, I'm going to make it a little lighter. Doesn't need too much. Yeah, I think that is good. And on this area, I need a little bit of extra blue. Right. Okay, I'll give you guys a minute to catch up. We are getting closer. And I may not finish the whole area of dark, but I'll show you how to paint this really dark area. Okay, so depending how much time we have, I'll make sure I show you at least one side of how much, how to get that really dark glow on it. Okay, so this is dry now, so we can finish this. I'm going to use a really nice dark pink. You can add a bit of blue to this. It'll look really nice, dark pink here. And you can see, okay, so you can leave this here. Next, this is still wet, this is dry. Okay, this is dry as well. So we can get in and paint some dark, really dark orange. So I can use even red to actually uh, give dark stripes to this. So I'm just going to use some red. You can add a bit of dark orange, just as long as it is darker than what the base color is, it will glow. Okay, so this is dark. And I know in the photograph it looks black. Well, you can use black, but the painting will start to look very dull and boring. So I try to use all my darks with the colors that I'm already using it. So that's the whole reason why I'm using only those colors. I can easily use some black paint and be done. But the painting doesn't look cohesive because it's actually that's the problem with photograph and painting is like you do not see the right colors. So that's why I make sure that I use the colors that I'm already using. Same with this. I'm going to keep mostly the very darker areas. I can use some purple, but I'm not going to use black as much as it looks. So I'm going to make a bit of purple here. Nice dark one. And then also some red. You can even use a bit of brown. It's totally fine. There is no rule. Like I said, the color doesn't matter. What matters is your values. This side, the stripes are lighter, and this side, it's really dark. So I'm going to make sure that it's going to be really nice and light. And as I come here, I'm going to make it really dark. Okay, so that's good. We're left with just one more here, the green one. I'm going to just go with a very dark green, nice dark green. To make it darker, add some blue to it. This side is nice and dark. Yeah, I think this is good. And I already feel this has to be dark, so I'm just going ahead and darkening here. Okay, here we have about 2 more minutes to wait, and then, yeah, we're getting closer. We need to do these dark areas in this one. And then I'll show you how to really mix that really dark color and put some white spots on it. So I think these darks are quite dark actually. So maybe we'll do that at the end, but first we can go ahead and add this. Now, in real life, I mean, not real life, sorry, when I do my own paintings, um, what I would do is I would save these spaces with the masking fluid so that they don't interfere with other paints. And then I can paint this really big area with a large paintbrush. But now we don't have masking fluid. So how are we going to approach this? Well, it is going to be tricky, a little messy, but I'm just going to wet this area a little bit so that the paint flows easily. Or I'm going to mix a really large amount of paint so that I can quickly go and start painting here. So maybe we'll try that. We need a really big paintbrush, and I'll show you how. So what is the color we're going to use? Now, any dark color, dark purple, dark blue, black, whatever you want. So let's see if we can use black today or make some black. How do you make black? You take some blue and you mix it some brown. Okay, so I'm going to take nice big area of brown paint and mix it with black. Okay, you can see that it's really getting dark and has to be thick, because remember I said that it's so dark that the value has to be really dark. You cannot make it like a very soupy paint, and it will not be really dark. It will become very light, and you can really tell that, you know, it's not dark enough. It will start to dry and look very pale. So you can see I'm mixing. It almost looks black, but let's see. Yeah. And I still like to add some water to it because I just feel the flow is really seamless. So what I'm going to do is, now that I have mixed my paint, I'm going to wet this area with a clean brush. This is just my paintbrush with some clean water. And I'm going to just take this and start wetting the area around it. It is going to be tricky. I have to be very careful around these places. Okay.
Want everyone to know that Megha will be back on June 1st at 6:30 for another online watercolor program. You know what
Yeah.
we're going to paint on June 1st yet, Megha?
Yes, I have. This is what we're going to paint on.
Oh, nice, peaceful image. Great.
Yes. So again, I'm wetting this area uh, with lots of water. Not not like a puddle, but enough that it keeps the area wet. Okay. And yes, as you put water, it will start to dry, but you have to just come back and, add some more water to it. So this is tricky, yes, but like I said, I would approach it differently. Um, but I want to show you that, how can we get that really dark, dark paint. So I wet my paper here, and now I'm going to take my really thick paint, and you can see that I'm going to start adding some of that paint here, and it'll just start flowing because there is water already. It is taking its shape and it's just going in those places. I can already see I need more thick paint. It's not very dark, but that's okay. You get the point that it has to be super dark for it to look black. It's not yet. I think I should have added more, but that's okay. But you can see how this paint is just flowing without me doing much of the work. And you can see I didn't get any streaks, any dry marks, something, because of water. There is a medium already there for the paint to just keep moving. I think it's pretty dark. That's great. Some areas it's not that much, but that's fine. We'll add a bit. Okay. You see how dark this got, and I'm okay with these um, irregular color here because if you see the picture, that's how it is. It's not pitch black. If you see, there's a lot of color going around here, so it's fine. You can even make it a little bit of, purple here. I'm adding some red here. It's fun. So make this your own, your background. You can do a light background and see how it looks. Will it glow? Will it pop out? Okay, let's see. Now, I've already done this side. I don't think I'm going to do this side because I don't have the tubes here right now. But you can see that this gets so dark. Now these are going to glow. Okay, you can already see one side. See the contrast here. So this contrast will really make the lanterns glow here. Okay, I'll show you the end image that I painted and then you'll get an idea. Um, In the meanwhile, I'm just going to tweak these areas, make it look clean and neat. Just with my paintbrush, I'll just get these shapes clean. Okay, now I want to dry this and then I'll show you how to put the white paint to get those, the lights here. But we are almost done with almost the other things. We need to make these smaller areas here and these, but I want to let this dry so that, the colors don't mix up. So again, what are these? These are, again, they look black, but you can make it anything. You can make it dark purple. You can make it really dark blue. Doesn't matter because, like I said, only thing matters is how dark that paint is. Okay, so I'm going to start with what I have on my palette. It's going to be this dark blue. So we can start painting with that area. And you can see here that I can paint with this blue. Add a bit of brown maybe. Make it look nice and dark. Look how this pops. Look at this orange and look at this dark. Now this will make this object look real. Okay, so that's very important. You can add more paint and make it look darker. What about this? Sure, maybe we can add some green to it, make it green, darker green. So I'm just going to add some really dark green here. You see how it's popping everything? Same with the blue here, maybe you can add some blue, some green to it, and again, give it a nice glow. It doesn't have to look all boring with the same black everywhere. You can make it look different. Here, I can add some maybe purple. Quite a dark purple. And then here, I can continue with the same bluish purple here. Okay, so you can see that just with colors, you can fill up those areas. Okay, now, again, I'm still waiting for this to really dry, but I can show you this how I do these threads. So I already added like a base color here, and I can take some nice purple here, dark purple, and just draw some thin layers of, just to show that these are the threads. Maybe take some brown, because this is not one color. Yeah, you can use like a dry brushing technique to make it look, and dry brushing is this, you take very less water and just, you can see that it's a very dry brush technique. We can use this here, but it's, let me see if it's dry. Yeah, you see that? You can do that here. Really dry paint. Again, there is a dark area. If you see throughout the painting, I mean, I know I sometimes mention as this lantern and that lantern, but usually I don't refer them as like lantern number 1 or 2 or something. I would say they're shapes. So shape number 1, shape number 2, shape number 3. Oh, okay, my hand is messy here. But that will make it really easy for your brain to, not focus so much on what they are, but what are their shapes. So that really helps. So try to remember that. They're just shapes and nothing else. So this area here, there was a small area that was very light, but I added green. Now, if you want to remove any paint, what you can do is you can take some water, clean it on your cloth, and then just scrub it here a little bit. Take a paper towel and you can see that you can remove a little bit of paint. The brush has to be dry. And you can see I removed some paint here. And on the edges, you can see there's this area here which is lighted now. I removed this paint here. So this is how you can remove paint. Okay. Same goes here. This was really dark, so I can just take some dry brush and make it look like threads here. If I would paint this painting in my studio for myself or for some competition, I would take hours to do this because these are very delicate pieces. But I know we are short of time here, so I'm trying my best to show you how to paint these objects. And even here, if you see, there are a lot of hanging threads here. And the way I would do this is when this dries, I would just scrap some paint away from here. Now this is quite wet. It is really wet. But I'll show you one small uh, area where you can see how to put this white paint. So I have white paint here. Again, I don't use white paint mostly, but today I'm showing. I'm just going to take some white paint. And if I'm to show you here, like, okay, some area here where, that light is hitting. So maybe here you can show. But this is super wet. So I'm trying to see where I can put it. Maybe here. So this is how you would go on adding some wet paint, white paint. It is quite wet, but I'm just showing it to you and create that like a starry night kind of a feel. See, it's wet and it's just mixing with the colors beneath it. And this is how you would proceed with the second part of this painting as well. You want to add some really dark paint here. And that's how this painting will glow from this side as well. But you get the point here. And in the end, you just sign your painting. Don't forget to sign your painting. It's very important wherever you want to sign, not in the middle of the painting. You never sign in the middle. But yes, I don't know if there are any artists with some exceptions. If you know, let me know. But yes, that's it from me today, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful time painting this. If you have any questions, please let us know and email me with your painting when you're done with it. Any questions on the materials to use, feel free to email me.
Megha, someone's asking if you're using bleed-proof white paint.
What white paint?
Bleed-proof?
No, it's not like that. It is just water. It's gouache. It's like watercolors, but it's not bleed proof. It's just gouache, nothing fancy. The reason why it's not bleeding is probably because those areas are dry. If they are not dry, they will just melt into the other paints.
Can we see the other color one again, Megha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the white color.
No, the painting.
Yeah, I can show you. Yes. One second. So this was the completed one, and I know they're different. They look different because of how much different paints I use, but I always like to change colors with background. So you can see that, with the complete background, how this will look. And you're right, it goes this way. Now you can see. You're right. So yes, you can see now that with completion, how it will really glow.
That was a really interesting exercise to see how you
Yes,
get that
yes,
effect. Mhm.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
And can we see the other one that's in the left-hand corner there? Or maybe
No,
to the right.
it's just
Oh, is that the same one? Oh, okay.
it's just
Yeah.
the reference image. Yeah.
All right. Well, please remember that Megha will be back for another online watercolor workshop on June 1st, same time, 6:30. Thank you all for painting with us today.
Yeah. Thank you,
And
everyone.
check out the library's YouTube page, Loudoun County Public Library YouTube, for this video and more art videos. And you can also check out our shelves for how to watercolor books and if you check the databases and streaming services that we offer, find movies of other painting classes. So lots of ways to get better at painting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Megha. See
Thank
you
you.
in
Thank you.
June.
See you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.